Michael. He never shows his face on the talk or the gram. I must force him to. Okay, so what?
How do my knees look?
Cut. Okay, so the first question was, how did you decide to stay and what was the process of that for you? I decided to stay because, for starters, marriage means a lot to me, which that's not enough to get me to stay. I decided to stay because of his efforts and like the things that he's decided to start doing to prove that he was, you know, gonna put forth the effort to to fix everything, or at least start the process of that. And the process of it was, obviously it wasn't like cut and dry. Like I didn't just wake up and decide, okay, I'm gonna stay with him. Like I was very angry in the beginning. Not just angry, I was hurt, confused, like all the things. So, I think like the first week and a half definitely was just like mostly just anger and confusion and like, why in the fuck is this happening? And then there towards like week 2, I think, you know, I started to hear him out more, which is also when he started putting forth effort, was around week 2 of, after finding out. So after he started putting forth effort and kind of like opening up and talking more, I was more open to the idea of like listening and I guess trying to like work through everything. Next question is, are you guys working it out solely for the kids? I'm gonna let him go first.
No, we're not working it out solely for the kids. I mean, obviously, we want to keep our family intact. At the end of the day, I love Allie. She loves me, and I made a lot of mistakes, and, you know, I'm just trying to right them.
Yeah. No, you know, I've already touched on this in a couple of my other videos. If it came down to like leaving or keeping the family together, but it being toxic and not working, I would leave. Like it would never come down to like staying just for the kids. The baby's over there making all kinds of noises and shenanigans. So definitely no, my decision didn't have anything to do with the kids, just based on the fact that, you know, what happened was between us as adults and quite honestly didn't involve the kids, and the kids aren't really involved in adult conversation, so it's not like, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
they were sat down and like, hey, so, you know, this is what we're gonna do, because they're 7 and 5, so the kids didn't really have a play in my decision. The next question is, for me, how do you keep yourself from questioning everything that he's doing? Honestly, I feel like I've really just come to terms with the fact that staying in my head and thinking about things constantly is not good for me at the end of the day. Like, it just, you know, that just sends you down a rabbit hole and makes you spiral. So I really just stay out of my head and just really put faith in God and in him, you know, that he's going to do the right thing. And honestly, like his come to Jesus moment has been pretty profound, that I think that even if it ever, I really don't think that it would, but if it ever came up that he was like, I'm going to go do something I shouldn't be doing, I think that it would be pretty convicting. Like, he would be able to convict his own self in that aspect of like, no, I can't fuck up. All right, the next question is, are you using your addiction and mental health as a crutch to keep me around?
No, I'm not. Listen, I mean, addiction and mental health has a lot to do with what happened, but it doesn't change any of the actions or anything that I did. I mean, it is just that. It's an addiction. It's, you know, I've had mental health issues, and I've never talked to anyone about anything, not even Allie. So even doing this video is like me stepping way outside of my comfort zone.
Growth.
But it's part of growing. It's part of becoming, you know, a grown-up. So one thing I made clear to Allie was that, you know, going forward we would have communication, and I would give her all the stuff that I never did. So and that a big part of that was communication, not letting her know what I was dealing with. And I just turned to alcohol, and it made all the problems go away for the time being. So it's not a crutch to keep her around by any means. It is just that. It's an addiction, and it's something I'm dealing with, and doing what I gotta do to get past that. So
The next question is, are you guys friends with other women? First of all, absolutely the fuck not. I don't know what kind of question that was, but it was actually a question that came up quite often, if like she was a friend of ours or whatever. No. Are you friends with her?
no.
It's not funny. Next question. Are you mad that I posted all of this on social media?
No. As a matter of fact, it was the first video was sent to me before it got posted.
Oh yeah, the very first one.
And I encouraged it.
Yeah, he actually told me to post it. I wasn't gonna post it, and I was just like, I don't even remember what I said. Something about like, this is my fucking life. Like, this is embarrassing. And he was like, no, you should post it. Like, you deserve, the support and the sympathy. And
at that point, we were still really...
I didn't like him.
There was a lot of uncertainty still. But I thought it was the right thing to post it, because part of social media, Allie, in social media, it's part of her life. Like, she tells all those stories, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Okay, the next question is, am I financially dependent on you?
No. Allie's very independent. She started an amazing business last year, and on top of that...
It was not last year, time out. It was
2021. 2021 now, sorry. On top of that, she's just a hustler. She's always been like that since we've been together. She finds, different ways to make money, and it's all stuff that she loves doing. So
I'm pretty self-sufficient. So that was one of the biggest things, is like, when people are being mean or hateful, they're like, oh, I couldn't imagine being so financially dependent on somebody that I let them walk me like a dog or whatever. Money has no play here. The next question is, do you ever randomly think about it and get angry? Not a whole lot. I have had a few times, I feel like 3 maybe.
Yeah,
3-ish. Where I don't really get angry, but like I'll get in my head, and obviously that turns into like a spiral of like thoughts and this and that and the fourth, and I'm typically pretty good at pulling myself out of that, just in the sense of like it's just not good for me or for anybody else to just sit around and like think about it all the time, or make myself re-upset or like rehash the feelings that I've already dealt with and like already gone through. But when I have like had moments of like, what the fuck, he's really good about like talking through it with me, which was never the case in like anything ever before. So anytime it has come up, he's pretty good about, helping navigate through those thoughts and emotions and whatever. The next question is his sister still friends with her? Yes. So that is obviously, like, to me, that's a huge disrespect, and that's not something that I'm willing to like continue a relationship or friendship, just because that's not something that should have to be talked about. I shouldn't have to say, hey, like, it's not really cool that you're keeping around the person that knew my husband was married and had children and decided to anyway continue whatever with him. Okay, the next question is, why did you do it?
So going back to the beginning, when the first time this happened, me and Allie were going through a fight, basically due to my bad habits, my hanging out with my buddies and drinking and driving and gambling my money away, and basically she just made it sound like I was right all the time and all the stuff that I wanted to do, and that Allie was bad for, putting, not pressure, but like questioning and telling me I can't do all this stuff. Like, I have a family, you're married, and so like just somebody telling you, no, you're doing everything you deserve to be doing, was major factor into why, this happened.
Okay, this is the last question we're going to touch on. What made you decide to change your mindset and get out of your addiction cycle?
Well, there was the weekend Allie was gone, and I pretty much drank myself.
The weekend I found out.
Yeah, if not to death, damn near close to it. And waking up one day and just realizing that like enough is enough, pretty much. Like I had a real come to Jesus moment. I know a lot of people say that, and I've been the guy that's always like come to Jesus moment. Like that's not a thing. And when I tell you, it felt like somebody came down and just put their hand on my shoulder and said, follow me, I'll show you the way. That's pretty much what happened to me. And since then, I've been, going to therapy, going to AA, and doing all kinds of stuff to realize that I can't do it by myself. And Allie's been awesome in supporting me and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's why I decided. I knew what was at stake. I didn't want to lose my family. I opened my eyes and looked at all the bad stuff I'd done over the course of.
And he obviously can't get a better wife than me anyway. So.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of bad. Not just besides this affair. There's so many fights and stuff I've started just because of my ego, my selfishness, and too much pride.
I didn't write this down, but it was mentioned a lot, and it's my fault because I didn't really preface my very first video I ever posted. Were you in a relationship with this woman for 3.5 years straight?
No. This was something that was there was seldom communication between the two of us. It was something I don't know. At the beginning, the first 2 times or whatever, there was a lot of talking, there was a lot of texting or whatever, but then as, I think it was maybe a year, I'm trying to think of the dates here, but...
The first 2 times were in 2019, and then the next time wasn't until 2021, so there was a huge gap in between those times. Also in 2019 was when we almost got a divorce. The fight was so big. And he was like, well, divorce, because that was his favorite thing to do when we get in a fight. So I actually went and got divorce papers and smacked him in the forehead with them. I was like, here you go, sign the papers then. So it was a pretty gnarly fight in 2019. It actually lasted for 4 months or something crazy.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch on that because obviously there's been a lot of people that are like, he was in a relationship with somebody else, he talked to her every single day and yada yada yada, and we're just under the impression that there's just been no good whatsoever in our relationship, and obviously that's not the truth or I wouldn't be sitting here. So I just wanted to touch on that, but I feel like that was pretty good for the first round of questions. I feel like we've kind of touched on all of the questions that were asked the most, so yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to add to it?
No. We answered the questions that you had written down there. If anyone else has more questions,
feel free to ask them.
Answer them about how we're moving forward and what our relationship's like now, and whatever else.
Yeah. Alrighty. That's it. Love you guys.
Bye, y'all.